We're going to be discussing linear system word problems. So these are problems where we're going to create a linear system, and then we're going to solve the linear system, or we're going to have to solve a linear system in order to figure out the solution. So you have a pile of $5 and $10 bills in front of you. The value of the 37 bills is $270. Now that's already enough. You could, at this point, you could already essentially figure out everything you need to know. I'm going to throw in a question just so we have something actually to answer. It also gives a clue, which I'll explain in a second. How many $5 bills do you have? Now, what we want here for every one of these questions, we're going to do the exact same thing. So for every one of these questions, we're going to want to have two variables, and we're going to want to have two equations, which I'm going to write as two variables, two equations. So we're always going to define two variables, and we're going to write out two equations. That's our goal for each one of these things. Now, we'll start with the variables. One trick, some of the rules with the variables, we'll go back to that. It has to be something unknown. So they must be unknown. So for example, I can't have a variable in this one that is the value of a $5 bill, because we know how much a $5 bill is. It's $5. So it has to be a value that's not directly given in the problem. And a clue for this is that usually the question that's asked is one of the variables. Not always, but usually. So how many $5 bills do you have? So one of the variables might be, so you could write let A or A with a colon. So I'm going to say that one variable is number of $5 bills. And my other variable, and I'm using A and B here, but I could use any letter, number of $10 bills. So now we need to come up with two equations. Now often one equation is fairly simple and the other equation is less simple. So in this case, the simple question is we can look at the number of bills. So the number of bills is, we have a total of 37 bills. That's $5 bills, number of $10 bills. So the number of $5 bills plus the number of $10 bills is 37. And that's the first equation. Now the second equation, probably something to do with that 270. So that's going to be the value, right? So if I had three $5 bills, it would be 3 times 5. If I had 7 $5 bills, it would be 7 times 5. If I have a $5 bills, it's going to be a times 5, or otherwise known as 5a. So this over here is the value of the $5 bills. Right, that's the value of the fivers. Right, it's $5 times the number of $5 bills that you have. And similarly, the value of the $10 bills is going to be 10b. And the total value is going to be 270. And that's the equation. And so we have our two variables, we have our two equations, and now we can solve this one. Oh, we don't need this thing anymore. So if I was going to solve this equation, it would be, so I have a plus b equals 37, I have 5a plus 10b equals 270. I'm gonna do substitution, I think. So I'm going to rearrange equation 1. So a plus b equals 37. I can actually get either of these alone. So we'll say b equals 37 minus a, done. That's equation 3. Sub equation 3 into equation 2, or we sub it to the one that we didn't use. So 5a plus 10b equals 270. 5a plus 10 times, and b is 37 minus a equals 270. 5a equals 370 minus, not equals, 5a plus 370 minus 10a equals 270. We'll go over to there. So 5a minus 10a is minus 5a. Here we have 270 minus 370 minus 5a equals minus 100. Divide both sides by minus 5. Chunk, chunk. And we get a negative divided by negative is positive. A equals 20. Now, what's going to happen next? Now we, of course, we have to sub that into there. So we sub a equals 20 into equation 3. That should have been underlined. And equation 3 is b equals 37 minus a, which is 37 minus 20, which is 17. But it's a word problem, so we're going to have to do something more with this. We're not quite done. So what we know is we know that the solution is a equals 20 and b equals 17. And if we go back to the original problem, we know that a is the number of $5 bills and b is the number of $10 bills. So what that tells us is that we're going to have a is 20. So what we actually have is 20 $5 bills and 17 $10 bills. And the question said, how many $5 bills you have? So we have to answer the question. So the answer is going to be, therefore, we have $25 bills. And that would be the answer to the word problem. If you want to check it, by the way, we have $25 bills, and that's going to be worth $100. And we have 17 $10 bills, so that's worth $170, which gives us a total value of $270. So it actually works. Now, this is a lot of work, right? It already took us 9 minutes to get to this point in the video. So what we're probably going to do for most of the word problem is, once we have written our two variables and two equations, we're going to go under the assumption that we know how to actually solve it. It's just a substitution or elimination type situation. And then we'll stop and move on to the next question. So we're only going to try to find the two variables and the two equations, and then assume that we're awesome and that we're done.